Okay guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be talking a bit about Black Ops 6. In my opinion, what is good and what is bad. Obviously this is my opinion, not everyone's going to agree, but it's just how I feel about playing the beta. So I've played several hours of the game right now and I've used most of the guns. I think I have a good idea on how the game feels in terms of movement, time to kill, and the maps available on the first weekend. Again, leveled up most of my guns. Round 10 is the average. I've leveled up my guns. Leveled up one gun to level 20. I want to see if it's maxed out at 20, being as the first weekend is 20 levels max. So I've used most of the guns in the game. Played Doctor, Scourge, AK-74, Brainstorm Sniper, XM4, C9. I used a bit of the SWAT and the pistol, and I can actually say most of the guns are very good in the game. But anyway, let's get started with what I believe is the good about the game. I actually believe that this gear's called it's really good. Let's start with the basics. So the COD HQ. So let's start with the COD HQ. This is the same HQ we've had now for several years, but now it feels a lot easier to maneuver. I prefer the verticality of all the settings. So like for example in the creator class system, if you look here, the loadouts are vertically instead of horizontally like we've had in previous years. Same goes for the guns, all vertically. The attachments, again, all vertical. None of this swiping to the right. It's a lot easier. You have a lot more attachments on your screen at one time. Easier for you to find what you need to get instead of swiping through a lot of attachments. Another thing I like about the game, another pro, is the fact that only the optics are shared between guns, which is just brilliant. Every other attachment is solely used for that one gun and unlocked for that one gun. Unlike previous years, we've had to unlock different attachments using different weapons, which is like an absolute mess. One big massive like family tree of attachments for every single weapon on the game. It can be a pain in the arse sometimes, so I prefer it this way. Also, another thing I've noticed, which I think is, well, it looks like a pro, unfortunately we don't know because it's the beta, but every attachment seems to have mainly pros and no cons, which sort of, like, the cons are minute like that. Like, there's not a lot of cons as you can see in the game at all, which I don't wonder if it's just because we're in the beta and they want everyone to like think all the attachments are going to be really good, but it sort of reminds me of like Cold War. So sort of like as you level the gun up, the attachments get better and more meaningful, unlike in like Modern Warfare 2 and 3. Like if you wanted, for example, more hip fire accuracy, you'd have a lot less aim walking speed, aim down sight walking speed, etc., or faster aim down sight meant slower movement or something or other. There's always a pro to a con in the previous games, whereas in this game you seem to unlock, as you unlock better attachments, you get better pros with less cons. Obviously, unlike things like the extended mags, which obviously is going to slow down your reload speed. But I really like that idea. Like it means leveling up your gun is meaningful and not meaningless. They've gone for a similar sort of like old school Black Ops. Looks like what a pick 10 system used to be, without the pick 10, obviously. They've gone for a basic free perk slot with a specialty, which I found quite interesting actually, because obviously it's your choice what perks you want. Some perks work better with others than others do. For example, I think there is a perk called Dispatcher, reduce the score cost for non-lethal score streaks stack with bankroll. Right, it stacks with bankroll, but Dispatcher is a green perk, whereas bankroll is a red perk. So those two stack together and they make getting score streaks a lot quicker, but they're not on the same specialty, which is strategist. So I kind of like the idea of that. I'm not gonna lie, it sort of changes it up, allows people to play differently. I found myself using the recon specialty, combat specialty, purely out of the fact of I understand you get wall hacks for the first 2 seconds of a spawn in. Virtually pointless. It gives you a good idea on where enemies are, which is kind of good for spawn trapping, etc. But the reason I like it is because I actually like the high alert perk. High alert perk is brilliant. But and obviously wildcards are back this year. We haven't got combat vests like we did in Modern Warfare 3. We have the wildcard, and at the moment the only wildcards we have is Overkill and Perk Greed, which obviously I've just been using perk greed to give me that extra perk to go towards my specialty bonus. So the only maps we've been given for this first week of gameplay is Skyline, Scud, Rewind and Derelict. All 4 maps play pretty well, I'm not gonna lie. Personally for me, the best map that is available to us right now is Skyline. I like the way the map flows, it just feels better, nice verticality of the map but not too much, not overwhelming. You got virtually 3 lanes to the map and an underpass which you can try and flank if the spawns don't swap, but we'll swap to those later. The spawns have been a bit up and down lately in the beta. I think the worst map at the moment is Derelict. It's still a good map, but I think just there's so many lines of sight on this map. You need to have like a 200 field of view, I swear down, because you could be looking down the middle of the map and the enemy could be looking at you from like 7 different directions, and it's crazy. It's kind of overwhelming, but it's still a good map. I've had some pretty good maps, like pretty good games on that map. All the guns, they feel pretty well balanced. I don't feel as if the game's going to be overrun with SMGs this year. Assault rifles and SMGs both feel pretty good and sort of on par with each other. Damage drop off is what it should be, really. So it all depends on obviously the map you're playing or your playstyle, what character or weapon you need to use. Right, now on to the movement. I feel like the movement of the game is probably the biggest positive for this year's game. Purely out of the fact that I think it changes the style of gameplay for everyone, and it really helps the inexperienced player get into the game. I understand obviously the people that have more experience when it comes to Call of Duty are going to have that edge, but in my experience and out of the people that I've played with this weekend in the beta, I've played with some people that haven't had much experience when it comes to multiplayer, well, forever. This is like their first beta that they've ever played, and they're doing reasonably well. You know, like they're getting 10 to 15 kills consistently. Like, it's not a lot compared to like some of the better players, but it's not a bad start for the newbie player. I think the movement's good for everyone. It's all about reaction time Call of Duty, you know, like if you see someone shooting you, you've got to try and turn, run away, do whatever as fast as you can. But with the new movement style, you don't have to turn left or right, whatever, you just run right, left. The transition is so smooth, there's no joltiness from running left, right, backwards. There is a slight delay when it comes to the dolphin diving and getting back up again. Not from dolphin diving to shooting your weapon, but dolphin diving to getting back up again. There is a slight delay, but then again, I suppose if you dolphin dive in real life, you're not going to get up straight away, are you? No. So that's all things we can get used to. Obviously, probably just be a little more careful when you're dolphin diving, because it's not going to be hella accurate, but it's a good fun thing to do. I got quite a few clips of me dolphin diving, shooting some people, and it was just satisfying to do. So that's really what I see as good. That's most of the game, to be fair. I am enjoying this beta. I think this is probably the best beta experience we've had. But obviously I'm just about to go through some cons, and this is what's making the beta a little bit down. But it is a beta, remember, so these things should be fixed, or will be fixed, because these are some experiences we've never had before. For example, the first con is my game keeps crashing. Throughout 6 hours of gameplay, my game crashes about 4 times, and it's not like a disconnect back to the menu, it's a full-on crash, black screen, and I have to hard reset the game. Obviously this is something that's going on with their server. I don't know if they're piggybacking off Modern Warfare 3 or if they're on their own servers yet, but clearly there's something wrong there, but I'm sure that'll be fixed, because that doesn't happen really. We get disconnects quite often, but not disconnects that are terrible like that. Obviously skill badge matchmaking is back. It is what it is. We have to live with it. It's strong, terrible, horrendous, but we've all learned to live with it right now. So, and I do have one major con that I really dislike, and that is score streaks. They've gone back to a score streak system. Instead of a kill streak system, we've got score streaks again. I know we've had this for a couple of years now, but come on, score streaks? Really? Why? Like, I understand they're trying to get people to play objectively to earn their score streaks, but that's what ranked players for. Us casual players don't want to just go and do. We just want to go and camo grinds. Go and do the camo grind, get kills that don't specifically require us to sit on a hard point or domination. Just go for the kills. We don't want to be penalised from going on a 10 kill streak, but yet the 10 kill streak can't afford you a Watchdog Helo. How does that make sense? I've had that in a game of domination in this game. I've gone on a Mercer's kill streak and I haven't got a Watchdog Helo. And you think, how does that make sense? The only thing I was allowed to have was a counter UAV. But that, again, that's personal preference. There's people out there that like score streaks, that enjoy playing the game modes. It's fun every now and then, but I think generic standard kill streaks would be better. But anyway guys, that's what I think of the new Black Ops 6. I'm really enjoying this better actually. Obviously max level, and I've maxed out a couple of guns. I thought I'd make this video just to give my point of view on the game. Really enjoying it. Can't wait for the full game to be released. Really excited to feel what the movement's going to be like in Zombies. Let me know your thoughts. Comment down below. Subscribe to the channel and like the video if you want to. And I'll see you on the next one. Probably the next weekend for weekend number 2.